Good evening, everyone. How are you tonight? Great to be here with you. Thank you very much, Keith. Thank you, Ron. I guess it's an honor is kind of a throwaway line, but I can't tell you how incredibly honored and happy I am to be able to come up here and honor someone who has played such a huge role in my life and the lives of so many people that I know. It's an honor to speak on behalf of the countless people who over 4 decades have benefited from Bob Feldman's mentoring and leadership. Bob's had a brilliant career, as you probably can see by the bio in your program, beginning at Burson Marsteller, and then he was a senior partner at Ketchum, and then he was president and CEO of GCI. Then he was the head of communications and corporate marketing at DreamWorks SKG. And of course, for the past decade, he's been the founder and partner of a very successful digital and management consulting firm, PulsePoint Group. On top of those all-consuming jobs, and you all know you have jobs like that, they're 110% straight out. I think one of the big things that we're honoring tonight, and it is truly in the spirit of Betsy Plank, is that he made time to give back and mentor beyond his own workplace by, among other things, teaching graduate-level courses at USC Annenberg, penning a regular advice column that many of you read in PR Week, and serving on the board of the Page Society for many years, including most recently chairing their very, very successful annual meeting in Washington. He's also led the development of the Page Learning Lab, which is an innovative online learning program that's already attracted hundreds of people, will eventually reach thousands about the newest things going on in our profession, and I think ultimately that will be Bob's most enduring legacy as a mentor. In all of these roles, he coached, led, mentored, and became lifelong friends with many of the most highly successful people in our field. And I'm very pleased many of you are here tonight, including Karen Strauss and Dale Bornstein, who's being honored tonight, Gary Grates, Anna Maria DeSalva, Aaron Quitkin, David Kine, Grant Toops, and of course his longtime business partner Jeff Hunt and Plank Board member Bill Heyman, among many others. All of those folks know, as I do, that Bob brings out the best in you. I probably benefited from Bob's talent and generosity as much as anyone, and certainly for more years than anyone. This is a sentence I can't believe I'm about to say. I first met Bob 41 years ago in 1977. Yeah. When he was a senior at Utica College in upstate New York, and I was a freshman, he was the general manager of the radio station. He was the news director of WPNR-FM, 90.7 on your dial. I was a reporter and the editorial cartoonist for the college paper. That December, this kind of stuff always happens when you go to a cold school, the college lost heat for a few days. And the student union that housed the radio station was running at about 40 degrees inside. But Bob insisted on keeping the station open and continued broadcasting. In tribute to his fortitude and at the direction of my editor, I drew an editorial cartoon, again back in 1977, featuring a young Bob Feldman broadcasting the day's news. He looked like this. And the bubble was, "We have to take a break right now, if only because my teeth are frozen." I still have the cartoon. Way back then, Bob was already as articulate a person as you're ever going to meet. Already a leader, best in his class, someone we looked up to, someone we tried to emulate. After college, Bob hired me at Burson, and then hired me again at Ketchum, and we continue to work together on the Page board. I think everyone here knows that this field we have chosen, public relations and communications, is actually pretty intangible. What we deliver, what we sell, is kind of hard to get your hands around, kind of hard to explain to your parents or to anyone else. We ultimately deliver huge value, as you know, but it often takes to the very end of the process for you to be able to see the value and touch it and be able to show it to someone. Consequently, my view is early on in our careers, we need role models to show us what we're here to do and how to explain it to other people. People who can teach us the lingua franca of the field that we're in, this very intangible field. For many, many people, certainly for me, Bob was that person. He taught us the language. He showed us how to counsel clients, how to write a strategic program, how to pitch a new piece of business, how to conduct a staff meeting that's engaging in front of 150 people at Ketchum, New York, how to deliver a speech in front of 350 people. Oh, that's what it looks like when it's done really well. That was Bob for us. In addition to being a role model, he's a world-class mentor. And I think Bob does three things better than most. First, he expects a lot of you, but in a very certain way. You get the idea when you work with him that Bob thinks you're a winner. Therefore, he treats you accordingly, as in he expects your performance to be among the very best. I think a good coach is someone who occasionally says, you could have done that better. Bob's a good coach, if you know what I mean. Having said that, more than any other boss I ever had, I always walked away from a conversation with Bob feeling better about my ability, more confident that I could do this business, and a compliment from him, never received all that frequently, meant all that much more when it was received. Second and related, Bob sets a high standard for you and he sets a high standard for himself, which is why he's a sought-after counselor by senior management. He's smart, very smart, and he does his homework and expects you to do your homework. That extends right up until now when we're in page board meetings, where we all know Bob is going to show up and make important contributions, and he's also going to diplomatically challenge our thinking, especially if there are holes in it. Third, he brings humor and humanity to everything he does. I'm not sure everyone gets to see this side of Bob, as I do, and I wish they did. Nobody cracks me up as much as Bob. He has a rapier wit, which is defined as a sharp intellect, making points so deadly they're like a French rapier sword in fencing duels. There's nothing I enjoy more. Being able to laugh at situations and laugh at yourself is important, and good humor is part of good mentoring. And then there's his humanity. Bob cares about you as a person, not just as a colleague. I could tell you many, many stories of his kindness, warmth, and generosity. The individuals he's helped, the organizations he's championed, that he has been a convener of so many communities, small and large. And of course, the pride he shows, absolutely beaming, about his wife Susan and her latest entrepreneurial feats, or his kids' accomplishments, or quelling over his beautiful grandchildren, most recently Nathaniel Brooklyn Feldman, born on August 30th. Bob is a one-of-a-kind class act who's improved the lives of all of us fortunate enough to have known him. And I think nobody deserves the Planck Center Legacy Award more than my friend. Please join me in congratulating Bob Feldman. Yay.
That was really, really touching, and I'm only sorry they limited you to 4 or 5 minutes. It also is perhaps the first time somebody used the word quelling in this room, much less a guy named Flaherty, so thank you. I'm really, really flattered and honored. First, when I heard this, as you would imagine, I did a little bit of research, and I looked at some of the past recipients of this award. And people like Bill Nielsen, Bill who's here today, who's been a role model of mine and somebody I've admired for many years, Pat Ford, Harold Burson. I mean, I started at Burson Marsteller right out of college. I was there for about 11 years. When I was 20-something years old and moved to Westchester, I moved within a few blocks of Harold's house. The first person to come to my house when I moved there was actually Harold and Betty. They came with a 6-pack of Coke and a bottle of champagne. I mean, that's, that says a lot. It's Harold Burson to some, account supervisor at Burson Marsteller. So really some remarkable people who I'm really honored to have received this award. And then I'm almost doubly flattered to be able to share the stage tonight with a couple of good friends, Bob Jimenez and Dale Bornstein. I just, again, hold these two folks in remarkably high regard. I have deep admiration and affection for both of them, so it's particularly special to be here with them tonight. I also want to kind of acknowledge or kind of give a shout out to Bill Heyman. Bill is not only a good friend, Bill's been a friend of mine almost as long as Rob has, but Bill is the guy who kind of pushes me, at least, to always be better. And you know, when it comes to mentoring and so forth, to have somebody who's a good friend but who's always kind of encouraging you to be better and do these kinds of things is inspiring, and it's fulfilling, and it's rewarding, and it's great. So, Bill, thank you. You know, I was thinking about what we all do for a living, and you know, we do whatever, PR or brand strategy or organizational design or M&A, whatever it is. And you know, to me, the work, I mean, I like the work, but honestly, it kind of comes and goes. You know, you get a client today, you lose a client tomorrow. But what's enduring are the relationships and the people you work with. And to me, what's inspiring about work, and at least how I view my career, is around talent management. Because I think at the end of the day, every business, I don't care if it's a professional service firm or a manufacturing firm or any other kind of firm, it's all about talent management. If you want to have success, if you want to have success at scale, it's about hiring and developing great people and giving them a little bit of help, but you know, in some respects, as the cliche goes, get out of the way. That's what it's all about. That's where I get a tremendous source of pride. So to see, for example, Rob come up here as the chairman of Ketchum, and to see the remarkable success he had is really very, very touching. And I look at some of my friends who are here tonight, Anna Maria DeSalva, who, as one of the most senior communications executives in our field, is also one of the only communications executives in our field who sits on the board of a public company. Aaron Quitkin, Aaron and I have been friends for, again, a long time. I guess this is what happens when you get old, you just kind of get, but I don't take the friendship aspect of the years for granted. Aaron and I worked together a long time, and then he went off and started his own business and did remarkably well. Grant Toops. Grant, I hired Grant out of USC to come into Pulse Point Group out of the grad program not that long ago. Today he runs our company. I mean, the ability to kind of see people like that do so well and succeed, that's where the kvelling comes in, or the nachas comes in. And it's not even limited to the professional side. It's also on the personal side as well. I mean, to see, my daughter Jackie is here tonight. You know, she's done unbelievably well. She's at business school right now getting her MBA. She's got a great job lined up next year in the investment banking group at Goldman Sachs. My son couldn't be here tonight. He's a lawyer. We're going to see him in 3 weeks. Susan and I are going to see him. This is unbelievable. He's arguing a case in 3 weeks before the United States Supreme Court. Our daughter, yes, give it up for him. Our daughter, Kimmy, who's in New York, who has a very successful career in marketing. I mean, my contribution to all of these folks is pretty limited. But the ability to kind of just watch and see that kind of growth, to me, that's what a life well lived is all about. You know, the work is work, but to kind of see people do so well and succeed, and to know maybe you just helped a little bit is really remarkable. So for that, I thank the Planck Center for the award, and I would just kind of encourage all of us to not only keep doing what we're doing, but as Bill does for me, we do for everyone else, and that is encourage others to do that as well. So thank you very much.